If you feel like house prices are getting out of control, then you're not mistaken. Over the last 5 years, house prices have grown way faster than they have ever grown in the past. And that made buying a house almost impossible for the vast majority of Americans. Some people say that when interest rates will be lowered, then mortgage rates will come down, and that will make it accessible for people to again buy houses. Unfortunately, that's not true. Mortgage rates are just part of the problem. The entire situation is way worse than you think because the entire housing market is broken. If you think that I'm exaggerating, let me explain. In 2019, right before house prices gotten out of control, the median household income was about $81,000. Well, if you compare that to the median house price, it was $327,000. Yes, there was a huge problem to buy a house because there is a huge difference between the median income and the median house price. However, since then, the median house price have increased by 25% to $410,000. If you compare that to the median household income, that's $80,000. Basically, the median household income has decreased while house prices have increased by 25%. Just by looking at these numbers alone, it's enough to understand why buying a house became almost impossible. But this is just part of the problem. This data that I just showed you is entirely inaccurate. If we want to know the real increase in house prices, then we have to take a look at the median price per square feet. In January 2020, it was $149. By 2025, it's $227. That's a 53% increase. So if you take the exact same house in 2020 or the January 2020 and today, its price have risen by 53%. So the reason that the house prices have increased by 25% is simply because Americans began buying smaller houses. If you can't afford a big house, then at least it's better to have something than nothing. The average size of the house in America is 2,286 square feet. So if we take the exact same house in 2020, it would cost around $340,000. And now, if we take the exact same house today, it would cost $519,000. That's a 53% increase. And now take a look at your household income. It is still the exact same $80,000. So it's not surprising that most people feel like buying a house became almost impossible. When your income stays the same and one of your basic most important necessities rise in prices by about 53%, you are going to feel it because it's not like a handbag or a car. You need a roof over your head whether you want that or not. Even if you don't have a car, you can somehow live with that. You can go and get a significantly cheaper car. You can even get a car for $5,000 to $10,000, but you can't get a house that cheap. If you're living in a certain city, then you have to buy a certain house, especially if you want that area to be safe, then the price of that house is going to increase drastically. And if you look at the mortgage rates, then it gets a lot worse. The vast majority of people buy their houses with a 30-year fixed mortgage, which makes absolute sense because most people don't have extra $500,000 in their bank account. In 2020 or 2019 and even years prior to that, the average mortgage rate was about 3 to 4.5%. So let's take 4% the average mortgage rate. If you would have bought the same house that would cost you $340,000, your monthly payments would be around $1,500. Now, let's compare that to the median household income. Now, if you take around $81,000 and you divide it by 12-month pre-tax, that would be around $6,767. So basically, the average household would spend around 24% or a quarter of their income on their mortgage payments. Is it a lot? Yes, but it's probably your biggest expense. So that is sustainable to a certain level. That is manageable. Let's take the exact same house and compare it to today. The same house would cost you $519,000 and the average mortgage rate is about 6.5%, although that some people are getting 7% or even 7.5%, but let's take the best case scenario, 6.5%. The average payment on that house would be, or the monthly payment, a little over $3,000. Remember, the real household income hasn't grown. In fact, it's slightly decreased since then. So it's about $6,666. That is pretty much half of your income directly going into your mortgage payments. And that's why when the vast majority of people look at the basic math of buying a house with a mortgage, they don't want to be paying half of their income into the mortgage payments. And this is their median household income, not individual income. If you take individual income, then buying a house for the vast majority of people, probably 90% of Americans, is literally impossible at this point. Now, when buying a house becomes so difficult and most people cannot afford it, they still need a roof over their head. So, a lot of the demand will be shifted and directed towards rental properties. And that's why the demand for rental houses have grown drastically, which is why the median monthly rents have increased also by 50% since 2020. So when people are complaining about super high rent prices, that's not because those landlords are so greedy. That's because the housing market is broken. Those people cannot possibly afford the house. Now, if the price to rent a place and buy a house are the exact same, why would people rent in the first place? They would rather get a mortgage and build equity over time, and at the end of the road, they will end up with a house instead of renting a house for the entire life. They're renting just because buying a house is almost impossible. So if you want rents to go down, then you have to make it possible for people to buy houses. That's when rent prices are going to go down. So the entire system is simply broken. House prices should not have increased so much in the first place. If you look at house prices historically and you compare them to the real household income, then they would grow pretty much at the exact same level. Now, buying a house wasn't always the best of the investments. Usually, you wouldn't make that investment in the first place. You would buy a house because you need a house. And for your personal life, yes, it's a great investment. But for investors, it's a bad investment because house prices on average grow between 2 to 5%. And the real incomes also grow on average between 2 to 5%. So on average, if you're buying a house for yourself, it makes sense. But if you're buying it as an investment, it's a really difficult investment. You're not going to make a lot of money. It's a safe investment, but the return on that investment is really bad. But everything changed in 2020 and 2021. When your bank provides you with a mortgage, it usually takes all of these mortgages, turn them into mortgage-backed securities, and will sell them to investors. And based on the demand and supply on these mortgage-backed securities, your mortgage rate will be determined. If a lot of investors would want to buy these mortgage-backed securities, then the rates on them are going to go down, and vice versa. So if inflation is sustainable at around 2%, then it's possible to sell those mortgage-backed securities at 4% or 4.5%, which were the rates prior to 2020. But in 2020, when COVID-19 has happened, there wasn't much demand for mortgage-backed securities. And because the Fed was afraid that the 2008 financial crisis could repeat, the Federal Reserve created artificial demand for mortgage-backed securities in the market and started massively buying them. So they weren't purchased by investors, but rather by the Federal Reserve. That brought mortgage rates to such a low level that it was once in a lifetime opportunity. There was a period where mortgage rates for 30-year fixed mortgages were below 3% at 2.5%. So getting a mortgage in 2020 and 2021 was literally once in a lifetime opportunity. There were a lot of smart people who took advantage out of it, but at the same time, there were a lot of smart investors. Imagine you are an investor and you have billions of dollars and then you have super low mortgage rates. What are you going to do? You will get a lot of mortgages and will start buying houses massively. And that's when institutional investors started buying those houses, started getting mortgages from banks and buying houses massively. So in 2020 and 2021, a huge percentage of the houses that have been purchased were purchased by the institutional investors. Prior to 2020, there wasn't a shortage of houses in the market because a good chunk of those people were renting and a good chunk of those people were actually buying houses. But starting from 2020, a good portion of those houses ended up in the hands of institutional investors who locked mortgages for 30 years at around 3% interest rate. And now when mortgage rates are much higher, they're renting these houses. They're making a lot of money. And that's why there is a huge shortage of houses in the market. Prior to 2020, those institutional investors wouldn't get into that business in the first place because it was unprofitable business. But because mortgage rates were artificially brought down by the Federal Reserve, it made sense. Get this house for 30-year mortgage at 3% interest rate, and now you are guaranteed to make a lot of money over the next 30 years because you know for a fact that there is not going to be another period of such a low mortgage rate. So even if you bring down mortgage rates tomorrow to 4% or 5%, it's not going to fix the problem because house prices are already have increased by 50%. Even if you lower mortgage rates to about 4.5% or 5%, that's not going to fix the problem. Because even at that rate, the vast majority of Americans will end up spending around 40% of their income on mortgage payments, which is why the entire system is simply broken, and it was broken in 2020 and 2021. If the same trend continued from 2019, we would not have this problem today. Which is why if you still want to build wealth and you can't buy a house and you don't see any other option, probably getting into the stock market is your best option right now because you have missed the train in 2020 and 2021. But the stock market is growing and don't miss your chance from profiting from the stock market. So if you're new to the stock market or if you want to know which stocks am I buying and you want to become a professional investor, then check out the first link in the description of this video. Thanks for watching and I will see you in the next one.